This is the text-to-speech audio version of The Observer by Philosopher. To read the full article, including analysis of trends we're observing and other content, or to join the conversation, check us out on Substack at darkphilosopher.substack.com or on Twitter at Observer Trends, or anywhere podcasts are broadcast. Article title: In a World Without Heroes, Evil Prevails. Article subtitle: Everything wrong with the world is entirely my fault. I'm sorta, kinda, but not really sorry. In an angry spat over the state of our collective global economies, destroyed by Keynesian inflationary economic philosophy, and made wholly worse through central bank and executive spendthrift authority, across both aisles of the ideological, COVID lockdowns and sanctions was merely an accelerant to an already spiraling global economic order, whose guaranteed demise was set into motion and entirely understood centuries prior. That's right. We knew this was coming. The current state of our world did not need foreboding truths carved on stone tablets, nor a gaggle of prophets to spread the word. We felt it together, with each passing year and generation. But the times, even in the darkest times, were too good to change. Chapter: Order Through Chaos. Some of the greatest and most sinister evils that man has ever conceptualized were, shockingly, not by men of political appointment or election. They didn't arise from tribunals, common law doctrine, kangaroo courts, or mutterings of temporary power-seeking sociopaths. Chapter: Chaos Through Trust. No. Unfortunately, the most extraordinary and sinister evils were birthed, coddled, and delivered to the world from within the ordinary home of typical families, enjoying normal, but otherwise respectable, everyday lives. Chapter: Our Homes. My home. In my angry and frustrated tirade, bursting forth from my lips to curious ears, prompted by an innocent question, the world began to unravel as my veiled and curated delusions faded. Slowly, then suddenly, then all together at once. Quote, "If a benefit is made available and I qualify, why wouldn't I claim it?" She asked casually. Too casually. Uncomfortably casual. I sputter. I spurt. Uncle Buck's 1975 Mercury Marquis backfiring rings across my ears. The allure of the available. The charm of the chargeless. Free is so addicting. If we could roll it up and smoke it, $100 billion industry would be born overnight. There is no competition for free, and there is no paid alternative. Free is anti-competitive and anti-self-reliance. Free is never truly free. People who accept free are not free people. You can have one or the other, but never both. Quote from The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand: "I could die for you, but I couldn't and wouldn't live for you." How do I explain free to someone whose childhood was dotted with periods of, shall we say, little economic viability? In fact, how do I explain it to myself, as a member of that same background and struggle? Chapter: Macro and Micro Converged. Free is cheap. It's disposable. It's reductive. It's counterproductive. It's a trap. Never choose free. Be free. Don't seek free. Pointless macro sentiments and public policy philosophy, when paired against the glaring obviousness of instant and free from the microeconomic perspective of an individual, in the contemplative weighing of the means. How do I begin to explain the societal decay caused by free? The mind virus which has no easy cure, is the most painful and challenging to treat. Chapter: Free housing, free food, free medical care. She knows the arguments regarding free. She knows the cost and price inside any market of any size when free is on sale. Yet, we aren't talking about greater society here. We're talking about her life and future. My best friend. Quote, "Do you really need it?" I almost guilt-illy inquire, knowing that her compensation nearly places her in the country's top 20% of income earners. Quote, "You're doing so well already." Her response comes across as what could best be assumed as the standard response for anyone seeking free. She has a need. Quitting her job to upgrade her education, in an effort to expand her career potential within and outside her field, she, with the stroke of a pen, will cease to be this beacon of success and status, to be thrown back among the, quote, unemployed, university student class. A class of persons that statistically spend more in 3/4 than the average household gross income over the entire four, only slightly hyperbolic, policy positions and possibilities scroll past my eyes, including the likes of income qualifiers, disqualifiers, and other means of economic benefit targeting and exclusion. Quote, Albert Einstein, "Sometimes one pays most for the things one gets for nothing." Alas, free is. Yet, this cannot be the end of this story. Everyday people are fighting for more free. They demand to live free, die free, and, most importantly, though far more subliminal, avoid being free. Free is the easiest to accept and the hardest to reject. It's the marketing tactic of street-level drug dealers in my area. Quote, "First bump is always free." As an aside, the locals in my area call cocaine by the nickname of more. Quote, "Got more. I need more. Everyone could use a little more. Who doesn't want more?" End quote. Quote by Michael Saylor, Reason from First Principles. Where exactly does free come from? Why is this draw so prolific within not only politics, but general consumption, culture, and content creation? The basis of free is now forming the economic backbone of 90% of the public's digital life. Quote, by Facebook in 2019, "Free and always will be." Even Facebook has recently changed its previous stance on free, having removed the reference quoted above due to changing, quote, public sentiment. Yet the public's sentiment hasn't shifted from free. Instead, it was altered by the knowledge that not even Facebook is genuinely free. To this writer, the root of free isn't so much laziness, but rather helplessness, whether warranted or not. The first initial calls by the public for free are seemingly unrelated. Quote, "Someone needs to do something," followed by its close cousin of, quote, "Help us." The problem is not dithering politicians, whose responses and interpretations are far closer to mechanical than anything remotely authentic. They are running a popularity contest, after all. The problem comes directly from the very bedrock of this nation, the homes and families which form the American public. Regardless of socioeconomic status, we start off this life receiving everything for free. Food, clothing, shelter, personal care, grooming, and even higher education. Yet somewhere along the line, we parents forgot to mention the principles of free to our offspring, namely that nothing is free, and everything made free is worth nothing. She candidly replied, quote, If what you're saying is true, it's already too late. Chapter quote, God helps those who help themselves. I am not a religious man, but only a fool could look upon a text as large and old as the Bible or Quran and assume not a single ounce of truth was to be had among hundreds of stories and parables. Though technically, the above quote isn't found within the Bible or Quran, there is much debate regarding biblical intention. The very act of prayer is a form of seeking inspiration and guidance upon life's path. We have always been a people, across all history, of stories. Humanity is populated by storytellers, with only a few ever chosen to speak, and significantly fewer of those remembered for speaking. We are a nation of stories of men and women, minorities, and immigrants who sought a better life on these shores. We were once a people who sought freedom over free. I conceded the round to my friend. Take the benefits. We could assume an equal playing field, even if the intention of equality inherently disadvantageous more than helps. I'm not satisfied with my conclusion, but I rest assured this story is far from resolved, and even further from actual realization. This storyteller remains in unrest. America, land of the temporarily not so free. Signed, Dark Philosopher. That completes this text-to-speech audio version of The Observer by Dark Philosopher. For more content, including our trends analysis, see our Substack at darkphilosopher.substack.com or join the conversation on Twitter at Observer Trends. Be sure to join the community so you don't miss out on future articles. Thank you for listening, and good luck.